So I had a patient in clinic the other day, and this is even, I've had family members like this, you know, this is just a caricature of a patient. This is not an actual patient, but multiple patients will say this and have this mind frame. So I don't want any of my patients to think this is actually them I'm talking about, but somebody will come up to me when I'm talking to them, be like, Dr. Allo, I'm going to lose 70 pounds over the next 6 months. I've done it before. I know exactly what to do. I'm going to do it. And you're like, okay, well, what is your plan? Because I'm not going to enforce my plan on them. I need to hear first what they're doing. So I'm super open, like, hey, what is your plan? How do you plan on losing 70 pounds over the next, 5-6 months? Because that's like a tall ask. Losing 70 pounds that quickly is hard. Definitely doable. Not what I would recommend, but sometimes people say they want to do it. So a patient, let's say his name is Mike. Michael comes in, he tells me he's going to do this. I'm like, okay, Mike, what is your plan? What are you going to do? Mike's like, well, here's my plan. I'm going to eat 356 calories a day. I'm going to start walking, exercising, all that, and I'm going to lose all this weight. I've done it before. I lost 70 pounds in 5 months, and that's my plan. That's what I'm going to do now. I'm like, oh, my goodness, 356 calories. And this guy, mind you, weighs 370 pounds, something like that. He's taller, so it doesn't look horrible. He's not like 5'2" or something. But let's say 6'1", 6'2", 370 pounds, wants to lose 70 pounds in 5 months. And he's going to eat only 350 calories a day. Now, will that work? Sure. Mathematically and scientifically, that will work. You will lose a lot of weight pretty quickly. Not the healthiest thing to do based on science, research, mental health, physical health, and a lot of things. Losing that much weight that quickly, you're going to lose a lot of muscle. First of all, he's a male and he's going to lose muscle. Females, same thing. Females will lose muscle. The second problem with that is it's completely non-sustainable. He's going to lose this 70 pounds. A few months later, he's going to go back to eating the way he used to, or he thinks he's eating less, but he kind of goes back, reverts back to the norm, and the weight all comes back on. So why am I opposed to it? I would rather he ate 3,000 calories a day and followed a reasonable diet and slowly lost the weight as opposed to what he's doing now. The slower you lose the weight, the studies have shown that the slower you lose the weight, the more likely you are to keep it off because you develop good habits. You develop good habits with food. You develop proper relationship with food. You learn all these things. Your mindset changes. You're no longer like fighting with food. One thing that I highly like what he's doing is what I call the all or nothing diet. You're either all in dieting or you're all out not dieting. And I've seen this happen with friends of mine too. They go on this severe calorie restricted keto based or intermittent fasting based diet, super restrictive. They lose a ton of weight and then they're completely off their diet and they're back to 300 plus pounds. That's either all in or all out. They call that dichotomous thinking here. It's either a 0 or a 1. It's either red or green, black or white. It's yes or no. It's either, it's like all in or all out. There's no in between. So that's not anything anybody recommends when it comes to weight loss, when it comes to business, when it comes to health, nutrition, relationships, whatever it is. Horrible frame of mind. You are always at battle with food. You're either fighting food, you're all in on diet, or you're all out and you don't care and food is your friend and you're like, eating like a mad person. So that type of dichotomous thinking, if you look at it and you look at the research, people have very rigid and strict forms of thinking like this, either all in or all out. Unsuccessful in weight loss, unsuccessful in business, unsuccessful in many things, but especially weight loss. There's actually been studies done on weight loss where people have been all in or all out, and those people are very rigid like that and have this dichotomous type of thinking, always gain the weight back and never sustain it long term. Just think about it. If you're all in or all out, you're always fighting food. You have this either starve mentality or binge mentality. So you're always at war with food. And if you read any of my stuff and read some of my, take my free mindset course or read my book, I'm always talking about healthy relationships with food. This is the worst, most unhealthy relationship with food. You're either battling food and you're at war with food and at war with yourself and at war with your inner cravings and at war with your desires and at war with your natural just being, or you're just let loose and doing whatever you want, completely no inhibition, just doing whatever. Horrible outlook on life, horrible way to lose weight. It's just not sustainable. Yeah, you could eat 350 calories a day, or let's even give you 600, 800, something, 1,200. You could eat 1,200 calories a day and lose a lot of weight really quickly. But then what? now what do you do? So first of all, you're at risk of causing metabolic adaptation if you're not taking diet breaks and not losing it slowly. Your body can adapt to low calories. Prisoners of wars that were fed 450 calories survived on it. They lost a lot of weight, obviously, but then they maintained on it at a decent BMI, very under BMI, but still, your body can adapt that. Look at the Biggest Loser contestants. 6 years later, their basic metabolic rate is up to 28% lower than what we'd expect because they had this metabolic adaptation to severe calorie restriction and severe increase in activity when they were on the show. So even 6 years later, they had these deranged numbers. So what I would recommend, lose your weight as slowly as possible. Not so slow that you don't notice progress, but you want to be in about a 15 up to maybe 25% calorie deficit. So measure your food intake for about a week, figure out your daily average, subtract about 20%, somewhere in that range. Eat that much going forward for the next 3 months or so. You'll lose weight very, very slowly. Then increase your calories back up for the next 3 to 4 months, which is maintenance. Add 200 to 300, maybe 400 calories back. Your weight will bump up a little bit and then kind of just stay there for a very long time. You've developed a good relationship with food. Now you're eating a little bit more, so you're probably happier, not as angry or not as irritable. And then keep cycling back and forth between deficit and maintenance. The studies that have done that have shown much better lean mass preservation, much better mental place, much better adherence. So that's what I would recommend to people who have this mentality. My free mindset course linked below, huge on this, as well as a lot of parts of my book that you can also grab below. Share this with somebody you know, because this type of thinking that you're all in or all out on diet is how you always fail at diet. And I don't want you to fail. I want you to get a permanent solution to your weight problem and end up being super healthy as well. So please share this with somebody who needs to hear it.